I'd like to call this meeting to order. This meeting is being held in accordance with the public laws of 1975, Chapter 231. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a notice sent to the Star Ledger, the local source, and posted indivisible with liberty and justice for all. I now ask for a respectful moment of silence for all of those who serve both near and not so near. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Capides,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Weber.
Here.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Here.
Committeeman Huber,
Here.
Committeeman Kaiser.
Present.
Thank you.
We begin with proclamations and announcements. The Township Committee and our employees extend condolences to our Registrar, Kristen Ragland, and her family on the August 15th passing of her father, Clyde Ragland. We extend our condolences to the family of Janice Bongiovanni, a longtime Springfield community figure who passed away on August 20th. She volunteered for a number of civic organizations and was 56-year active member of the First Presbyterian Church of Springfield and Canon Chapter Dar in Springfield. The Springfield First Aid Squad, along with the Township, extends condolences to the family of Bob Gansler, a deacon at St. James for 18 years, who passed away on August 11th. The farmers market takes place on Mondays now through August 26th. Please visit the corner of Mountain and North Trivet from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our townwide community garage sale, Saturday, September 12th and Sunday, September 13th. Bulk pickup will be Wednesday, the September 23rd. Now, I would like to read a proclamation for September 11th. This proclamation is for Patriot Day and National Day of Service and Remembrance for September 11th, 2020. Whereas 16 years ago, the United States of America suffered an unprecedented national tragedy. And whereas on that fateful September morning, we are reminded that the great strength of America is found in the hearts and souls of its citizens, as we witness police officers, firefighters, rescue personnel, members of the military, and private citizens demonstrating extraordinary courage and risking their lives to save innocent victims and our country, united in compassion, as Americans came together to provide relief and bring hope to others. And whereas in observance of the 19th anniversary of September 11th attacks on America, which killed citizens from 92 different countries, and more particularly Township residents Lee Alder and Joanne Hildebride, we hereby pay tribute to those lost and injured on 9/11 and the many who gave of themselves in service to their communities and to this country in the aftermath of the attacks. And whereas on March 19, 2009, the United States Congress passed bipartisan legislation authorizing the establishment of September 11th as a federally recognized National Day of Service and Remembrance, which President Barack Obama signed into law on April 21st, 2009. And whereas the President of the United States on September 11, 2009, issued the Patriot Day Proclamation of Service and Remembrance, and calling upon all interested Americans to participate in this observance through moments of silence, the flying of the flag of the United States at half-staff, as well as community service and charitable activities in tribute and remembrance. Now, therefore, I, Christopher Capides, Mayor of the Township of Springfield, on behalf of the Township Committee, do hereby proclaim September 11th, 2020, Patriot Day and National Day of Service and Remembrance, and encourage all citizens to join in remembering those who gave of themselves on September 11th, 2001. And I would all like to invite you to Town Hall, 8:30, for our 9/11 remembrance ceremony. If you do decide to attend, I'm going to respectfully ask that you wear masks and also respect social distance of 6 feet. That concludes proclamations and announcements. Is there any others that anyone else would like to share? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to public comments on agenda items only. Anyone from the public wishing to comment on any agenda items, please activate the Q&A or chat feature on your Zoom to be heard. We're going to ask that you start with your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment on agenda items only portion of the meeting and move on to reports. Good evening, Mr. Basicolo.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Linda got dropped off somehow. She can't get back on, so we're missing Miss Donnelly. She's dialing me now. Let me just see what her problem is. Hang on.
May I suggest while Mr. Basicolo is working on getting our clerk back on, why don't we move on to the bid update with Mr. Scalera? Mike, do you have anything you wish to share? Any updates on businesses in town?
Yeah, really quick. So, I've been getting out to mostly the eateries in town, and, there is a spike, obviously, because they have the outside dining, inside dining. So they're had a good weekend, and it's very promising for them. And so what we did about 3 weeks ago, we created a video for all outside dining, and it was funny. The first day or two of it, there was 200 views plus on the video. Well, to date, because again, social media has become a great place to put these videos on, we're up to 3,700 views on it. So it's specifically for outside dining, and the video is probably about a minute and a half, but it actually goes to all the places that are having the eateries. We do get the people in the video that either own it or are working there. So it's been a great thing for promoting them. And again, it's been supported by the bid. We also discussed doing a second wave of the grant of the $1,500 per business, and we're probably going to do it in the fall. The people that the businesses that got it in July and in August, they will not be able to reapply. This will be for the ones that actually missed it. So we couldn't express enough great gratitude and outpour, and giving the $1,500 to them. So that would turn out to be a great success. We're having our marketing committee meeting probably within the next week or two. Obviously, there's challenges in marketing and events, but we're just trying to deal with what's going on with the COVID and being respect and ways to promote businesses. So we will be meeting with them within. We've been meeting together with the next 2 weeks or so in regards to being creative for them. And then lastly, on my end, we do have an open bid board member that can be that somebody can be go for it. So we have an open spot. So if you know anybody that that would be want to be part of the bid board, we have an open spot, and then it's going to go into the vote. They have to be selected by a property owner that is part of the bid. So the property owner can be can apply, but also they can recommend somebody that's a retail establishment member, and then we will put that to vote and see if if we can fill in that spot. So that's coming up within the next month or two. Other than that, that's pretty much my report in regards to the bid.
Thanks, Mike. Excellent job as always. I had a rare moment, my wife and I, that we were childless for a night. We did actually go to Sophia's. We sat in the back parking lot. We sat actually through a monsoon that we didn't see coming. But it was nice because when we got there, it wasn't raining. And by the time we left, it wasn't raining anymore. So it was very nice. That tent was worth every penny they spent on it. Thank you very much for the update. Ms. Donnelly lost her internet at home, so she is on speaker with me for the duration of the meeting. We are going to now go back to Mr. Basicolo for his administrative report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One thing I wanted to bring up quickly, and I know we've posted this, is that the state has granted us an extension on the reval. We now have to have a completion date of October 1st, 2021. So you will not see anyone coming around for an extended period to go into the houses. That is off for the moment. Once we decide when we're going to start again, we'll certainly post it and make sure that everybody is aware before anybody starts knocking on anyone's door. I'd like to touch on our DPW department because they've been extremely busy after the storm. Just to kind of give everybody kind of a thumbnail of what's gone on. We've picked up approximately 4,000 cubic yards of debris after making 2 passes completely through the town. The thing that I find really amazing, and this hats off to Mr. Betcher and his group, they did all of this without any overtime. They were able to get everything picked up. 13 locations. The sidewalks were damaged from trees falling. So we're getting bids on those. The trees have been removed. We're getting bids on getting the sidewalks repaired. That we're currently in the parks and the waterways trying to clean up other damage. We're probably going to have another 500 yards of material from those locations. We're in the process of getting quotes to grind up all of the debris. We're looking at we're thinking somewhere in the area of $90,000 to get that ground up. We're going to do a triple mulch, and you will see tonight that there is an ordinance on that we'll be able to sell that mulch to not only the residents, but commercial accounts are welcome to come in and buy at a different rate, and we do not deliver for them. Again, we're just trying to recoup our money on this. We thought it might be a wise idea. All of our costs related to the storms are being tracked, and they are going to be documented and sent off to FEMA for reimbursement. As we all know, those funds don't come back in a hurry. It's probably going to take us probably a year before we see anything. But we're hoping that we're going to be able to collect everything that we've spent. We had a surprise inspection on September 2nd from DEP on the temporary management area of debris up at the pool, and we got a clean bill of health there. They were very pleased with the way we were handling that. I want to touch on just for a moment our developments in town, the redevelopments. The Gomes property, hopefully everyone has seen, they've taken out approximately 1,000 dump truck loads of dirt at this point. They're just about down at the level they need to be in order to start footing and foundation. They do have their permits for footing and foundation, and also there are 2 structures left on the property. One is on Center, one is on Caldwell. They do have clearance to knock both of those down. They should be done probably within the next week. At that point, we're going to have a pre-construction meeting with them, along with Mr. Disco, Mr. Betcher, myself, to make sure that the footing and foundation goes as planned. We have no hiccup there. Mr. Betcher is also in the process of cammering the sanitary line that runs in front of the project on Morris Avenue, just to make sure it's clean. And should we have any backup or anything afterwards, we'll have a record of what it looked like before. And should it get damaged somehow, we'll have a record that we know it wasn't that way to start with. On our Larkin property, SPD sale across the street, I think everyone hopefully has seen that he's up on the 2nd floor now and he's framing. He'll be doing that for probably the next 6 to 8 weeks. Framing will be done. You'll start seeing that structure start to look like something. On our Saks project, we have to, again, they are going before the Board of Adjustments on the 21st of this month, hopefully for final approval. We have to send them a letter. They asked for some things that Springfield would agree to, and really it's no impact to us. They want us to use what's called Thomas Street. I don't know if anybody even realizes where it is. It's up by TD Bank. It really looks more like a driveway, but that's the entrance into the back of Saks. What they're going to do is they're going to pave that, make that a 2-way street there. It's going to be fully open, and that'll be used for like the garbage trucks to go in. If any school buses are going to go, they're going to go in that way, turning off of Morris Avenue, just to try to keep some traffic off of Milburn Ave, and the residents can use that back entrance also. So we will be getting a letter off to Garden Homes this week, agreeing to those things, and hopefully that answers all of the Board of Adjustments questions in Milburn. They should have no objection going forward. And that's really all I want to bring. I'm sorry.
So John, is that what came out of them doing the additional traffic report? That was what their findings basically were?
That was the findings for us. The other things that did come out, and I may not remember them all, Erica, but one of the things was they wanted to make sure that they had control of the traffic light on Morris and Milburn and the new traffic light also. So if emergency equipment needed to get in, they could obviously make the light green or red, whichever way they were going. And they do have that ability. So that took care of that. That was one of their major concerns also.
Okay.
So we've
Sounds
conformed to
good.
basically everything they've asked for, we've been able to conform to. So they should have no objection to the development itself.
So hopefully the next meeting's not going to be one of those 3-hour all night meetings again.
We're hoping not, because they asked their attorney to draft the resolution, and the only thing they should do at that point is basically vote on it to approve or not approve.
Let's hope. That's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Well,
Yeah, we're moving.
and I know this has been a very, very frustrating experience. And I want to thank, John and all of our professionals that have been stuck with it, that have been continuing the dialogue with Milburn, because I know that, there's obviously, we've done everything that we could to make sure that this goes through on our end, and it has. And, these hiccups that Milburn has on their side is completely, out of our control. And we want to make sure that, we do everything for Milburn so we can make sure that this does go through, and even the traffic study, they picked both of the organizations to do the traffic study, and which we didn't understand. But I'm glad now that we were able to continue the dialogue, and hopefully Milburn won't hold this up too much longer, and we could start to build. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Basicolo?
Yes, just one more thing. My suggestion is we get nobody going out to appraise the houses until the school gets back in, all the kids go back to school. Because I don't want the kids there and somebody knocking at the door, even if their parents say, don't answer it, kids are going to answer it. And I don't want any problems with people trying to rip the kids off. So I don't want it. My suggestion is we don't start it until after the school is in.
Good suggestion. Good
Yeah.
suggestion. And I too, not to belabor the point, but it deserves mentioning again, the DPW doing all that work without any overtime. Your bridges, your high flood areas, they cleaned it out completely. And we would also like to thank the county. County usually comes by and does the one pickup on all the county roads. They actually came by and did two times for our residents. So it's an all hands on deck effort, and we really are appreciative of everyone's effort on all fronts.
And Mr. Mayor, just one more
Sure.
comment, if I may, just so everyone knows. I think you're all aware that our team goes down to these developments probably 3 times a week. We walk the developments to make sure that it's being done properly, exactly where we are and what's going on. So we're trying to keep a very close eye to make sure the township is protected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other questions? All right, Ms. Donnelly, I know you're back. Do we have audio as well? Are you good?
Wait a minute, can I say just one thing?
Sure.
I think, this is my opinion, I think town hall should be open to the public by now. I mean, as long as you wear a mask, you must wear a mask and all that. I don't know what you think, John, but that's the way I think we should do.
Town hall is open by appointment only. I mean, we don't stop anyone from coming in. They call and we let them in the door, obviously. The only thing we don't have is we don't just have the door wide open. I mean, that's the only change it would be. If you guys think that's causing an issue, we're open to discussion on that.
Have we gotten any complaint? Let me ask you this, John, or anybody, have we gotten any complaints from residents that you're not open for anyone to walk in public access?
Somebody complained that the door was open at the annex and they walked in. So they walked in and, and I understand that they're doing a lot over at the annex, but, supposedly they yelled at them. That's what I was told. I don't know how true that is, but I'm just saying, if people are going to come in and they have masks on, let them come in.
Well, I think that the one particular situation that you're referring to, I did hear that as well. I reached out to that individual in particular to find out what the specific concerns were, and we're going to try to talk about it. But again, schools are virtual. Everyone's still in the virtual capacity. They're doing that for a reason. And I believe that if we don't have that many complaints from residents, and right now we have only one with Committeeman Hubers, that we're not open all the time, I think we should stay the course, at least for now, and we can reevaluate it during our next meeting if we feel that there's a bigger need for them to come in anytime they need to. I mean, it's by appointment only. We have the drop boxes. Everything has been going well. You dial the number, you're going to get somebody in person. I don't really think there's a need to change anything at this point. but I would be more than willing to talk about it at the next meeting, or if an urgent situation arises, for sure.
We haven't turned anyone down, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, anyone that's called, we've certainly accommodated them, let them in the building.
All right, we can have additional discussions about it if there's any specific situations that come up. I'm sure we can of course discuss it as they become available. Let's pay some bills. Moving on to finance. Guys,
Okay, I will, I'll make a motion to accept the total amount of payroll and invoices for the period of August 12th through September 8th, 2020 in the amount of $9,511,879.84.
I will second that amount.
roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes,
Mayor Capides.
Yes, moving on to minutes and reports. We have regular and executive meeting minutes of June 9th, 2020 oh, I'm sorry. Can I have a motion, please?
motion to accept the regular executive meeting minutes of June 9th, 2020 as emailed. Special meeting and executive meeting minutes of June 15th, 2020 as emailed. A regular meeting and minutes of June 23rd, 2020 as emailed.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to new business, we have no ordinances for second reading. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 for first reading. Madam Clerk, can you please read the first ordinance by title?
Yes, ordinance 2020-19. This ordinance of the Township of Springfield, Union County, New Jersey, is approving application for a long-term tax exemption and authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with Springfield Center Urban Renewal Corp.
I will make a motion to adopt, I'll make a motion to what are we, to publicize, there we go, the first reading of ordinance 2020-19 as read by Madam Clerk and publicized in the local source on September 17th, 2020 with the final hearing on October 13th, 2020. I am out of practice.
I will second that.
Any discussion up here?
I don't know if any public, but we should go over what that is entailed. You know, we've done it a few times already. This way they can, does Craig do it, or I don't know who does it.
Well, we've done this one time before.
Yeah.
I agree with you. We've done this one time before. We passed one of these, I think either last year or the year before. We paused the process just to make sure that we were completely thorough because we knew that there was going to be a couple of these. Mr. Basicolo, do you want to just explain what this is real quick for the public?
This is the agreement with the Gomes property for a pilot program. Matt Jessup had described this to you in detail, I think at one point a few meetings ago. We felt that since we've done that before, I asked Matt not to attend tonight. If we feel that it becomes an issue at the second or final reading, we could certainly have Matt come back.
And this was, and I remember now, it was 2 years ago where we had the first pilot for the downtown redevelopment done. And we wanted to make sure the numbers were right. So I moved to table it so we could have that deeper discussion. And we went through it and it was done to our satisfaction. And I believe this is very, very similar to the last pilot we approved 2 years ago.
Yes, no, I agree. So I just don't want anybody challenging it or. You know.
Oh, agreed. Absolutely. Thank you, Committeeman Huber. Any further discussion?
No.
No. Roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes,
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Ordinance 2020-20.
This ordinance
Please.
amends the Code of the Township of Springfield, New Jersey at Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, Officers and Employees, to create the position of Deputy Tax Assessor.
I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 2020-20 as read by Madam Clerk with final publication in the local source on September 17th, 2020, with a final hearing on October 13th, 2020.
Second that.
Excellent. I know that some of you might be reading this and it might have been on before and there might be some confusion. Mr. Basicolo, would you mind explaining this real quick, the process and procedure?
Yes, we did introduce this once before, but we didn't do the second reading. So in an abundance of caution and advice by our township attorney, we started the process over again. So that's why it's a first reading this time around.
And Mayor, nothing's changed since the original first reading on this. It's creating a position. It's a statutory position, optional, but it's a statutory position, and we're creating it here in the township.
And we could eventually, after this position is established and this position becomes vacant again, we can actually take this off the rolls again if we need to, correct?
It depends. Yes, but it depends upon tenure and other things relating to the position once an individual is occupying that position. So there are some issues, but yes, that is possible in brief.
Craig, if I may, I think what the mayor though was alluding to, that we don't have to necessarily fill this position should it become vacant.
Oh, correct. Yes, that's absolutely correct. Just because you create it doesn't mean that it stays there forever. If it becomes vacant and there's no longer a need to fill the position, then yes. And I'm sorry if I misunderstood the question.
No, maybe I didn't ask the question correctly, but I thank you, Mr. Basicolo, for clarifying for me. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Mayor Cappy.
Yes. Madam Clerk, 2020-21, please.
This ordinance amends Chapter 12 to amend subcode officials' requirement and to include mechanical fees.
Mr. Mayor, ordinance 2020-21, as read by Madam Clerk, publication in the local source, September 17th, with final hearing on October 13th, 2020.
Thank you. Mr. Basicolo, would you just mind explaining?
Oh, yes, seconded. Kaiser. Alex.
I will second.
Pardon me. It's been a while for me too, Committeeman Kaiser. Pardon me. Mr. Basicolo, would you mind just giving everyone, for the public's benefit, just a quick explanation?
Yeah, there was a change done to the UCC code, which created that we had to make a change to our ordinance so that we continue to collect the fee for the mechanical inspections. So it was just something that we would have missed if we didn't do this.
Thank you. And just for the record, Madam Clerk, you do have Committeeman Kaiser's second on this motion, correct? Thank you. Any further discussion?
No.
No.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeeman Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally,
Ordinance 2020-22. This ordinance amends the Township Code's maintenance provisions to provide for the distribution of excess mulch to residents and commercial entities.
Mr. Mayor, ordinance 2020-22, read by Madam Clerk, to publication in the local source, September 17th, 2020, with final hearing on October 13th, 2020.
I will second.
Mr. Basicolo, would you just mind explaining perhaps where we're getting all this mulch from?
This is the
He just
4,000.
did.
Yeah, this is 4,000 cubic yards that we've picked up that's at the pool lot. We're going to have that triple ground into mulch, and then we're looking to sell it. The residents are going to be able to buy it. It's a $50 minimum. They can get 5 yards. We'll deliver it to them. On the commercial side, it's $15 a yard, no delivery. They're welcome to come and pick up at the pool parking lot. So we're trying to move that and recoup some of our money.
Any further discussion?
No.
It's simple, smart to do.
Yeah, agreed.
Wait, I actually have one question.
Go ahead.
Is that colored mulch, or is that just gonna be, Robbie there, is it?
No, it will not be dyed.
Thank you.
I want a blue.
And I want a roll call, please.
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Committeeman Kaiser,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeeman, Mayor Capides.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to resolutions, we're going to adopt these by consent agenda. If any committee person would like one pulled, please let me know. Resolution 2020-226, 227, 228, 229, 230, 231, 232,
There's a typo.
233, 234, 235. Just a point of order for clarification, there seems to be a typo in the resolutions.
Yes.
Where we have multiple resolutions of the same number. Craig or Linda, do we need to make any,
It's a typo. 233, my fault, I'm sorry. 233 is the person-to-person transfer of retail
Okay.
license. 234 is the shared parking agreement. 235 is the use of competitive contracting, I believe.
Actually, no, I think you're one behind.
I'm one
Starting at the top of 232 is the refund of fees collected from the Recreation Department. 234 is the Recreation Department's grant application.
Correct, sorry.
Or two,
235, as I read these, if you'd like any pulled, please let me know. 235 is the person-to-person transfer. 236 is the shared parking agreement, which 237
Right.
is the private collection agency. So we actually have 226 to 237. Mr. Dow, do I need to do this again? Do I need to do this consent agenda again with the new numbers, just out of abundance of caution, just to make sure that we do this appropriately?
I just want to confirm with the clerk that the numbers that are where the numbers begin on the agenda and where they then diverge on the agenda, because I think it's the numbers that are on the resolutions that are
The numbers that
should govern.
right. So
Madam Clerk, and Mayor, if you don't mind, Madam Clerk, if you could, by looking at the resolutions themselves,
yes.
identify them by number
Sure.
and by name.
Okay.
And that's what will be voted on, unless any of them are pulled.
Okay, so if I may, just
Yes.
polling the committee right now, does anyone want any pulled? Let's do that, because if we don't want anything pulled, it's going to be, I think that would make this process easier. Does any committee people up here would like any resolutions pulled?
no.
Hearing none, that we're not pulling any for separate consideration, let's proceed from here with guidance, Mr. Dow.
Okay, Madam Clerk, looking at the resolutions themselves, if you would just identify the resolutions by number and by name.
I'm sorry. So
this is by consent agenda according to the reading of the clerk, identifying each resolution by number and title, correct?
Correct.
Resolution 2020-226 is the Greening of Union County Fund Program. Resolution 2020-227 authorizes the release of the bond to A.J. Perry. Resolution, I'm sorry, but I'm having a bad night tonight, people. Resolution 228 is authorizing the refund of property tax overpayments. Resolution 229 is the refund of property taxes from a tax court judgment. Resolution 230 approves the renewal of plenary retail consumption licenses and club license. Resolution 231 is the approval to submit a transportation set-aside grant application. Resolution 232 is a refund of fees collected from the Recreation Department. Resolution 233 authorizes the Recreation Department's grant application for Kids Recreation Trust. Now, here's where I made the mistake, because there's two 233s.
Correct.
So we could go to 234. I would just have to renumber 233 to be the last one. So 234 is execution of the shared parking agreement. 235 is the competitive contracting for municipal court, right? And then 236 is the person-to-person transfer of plenary retail consumption license.
Correct.
Could you repeat that?
Shut your mouth.
So I have one more question for a point of order.
Yes.
Do these, how do I ask this question? So these are numbered resolutions that are in numerical order. So does it matter if a number in the sequence is excluded? So for instance, let's say you number these wrong. Let's say, actually, no, let's not say.
Yeah.
We didn't exclude any numbers.
Can we pass?
We didn't exclude any.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Put on,
Mayor, I'd like to
There you go.
have from what was it, 2?
I think it's
30,
226
26.
to 236.
226 to 226, as read by Madam Clerk.
230.
No.
All right.
I will make a motion to adopt resolution 2020-226 on consent agenda through resolution 2020-236.
Yes, thank you.
There
Do I have
you
a
go.
second?
I said.
Second.
I'll second that.
Perfect.
Okay.
Can I have roll call, please?
Committeeman Huber,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Weber,
Yes.
Committeewoman Du Bois,
Yes.
Mayor Capides.
Yes. Now, just to be out of an abundance of caution, now, are those
You forgot
approved?
Alex. You forgot Alex.
Oh, Committeeman Kaiser.
I'm a yes. I am a yes.
Are we, this is definitely the year 2020 for sure. Now, is that legitimate the way we've done it through that process?
yes, Mayor.
All right.
Even though we screwed up so many times, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
Oh,
it
We all
happened.
do it,
It's,
Linda.
it's fine. Let's move on to
It's
discussion.
all good.
Do I have a motion?
All right. I would like to make a motion to discuss the approval of a soccer club of Springfield request to place a club-owned shed at Ruby Park to replace the shed that was destroyed during Hurricane Isaias.
I second that.
All in favor?
Hold on.
Wait a second, wait.
Hold on. I have a question.
Did you
Is
go
this
over the
at our
paper?
expense? Are we paying for
Oh.
this?
No,
No, we're just approving them to allow them to do it.
Okay.
but
Yeah,
we're not
there's
interfering with
the
any
tree
of the
fell on the
baseball
shed.
stuff,
The shed was destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the shed. It was totally destroyed. It was there. It's been there for years. They're just replacing it.
No
right?
problem.
The-
Size and
the-
everything, okay.
The shed actually was something that had to come down anyway, so it's whether the tree fell on it or not, the shed was due to be replaced anyhow, so it needs to be done.
All right.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed? Abstentions? Perfect. Next discussion item.
Did John want to say something before we go to the next one?
Me?
No, I was just gonna see if Mr. Betcher had any comment on the shed at Ruby Field, just in case.
I'm sorry, John, could you repeat that question? I was,
I just wanted to know
Oh.
if you had any comment on the shed at Ruby Field for the soccer. Since you're on that field and you know where it is, are you, does it interfere in any way with what you have to do there? That's all.
no.
No, it's
it
been
does
there
not.
for years.
Okay.
All right, next, I would like to make a motion for the discussion to approve New York Blood Center, New Jersey Blood Services Emergency Blood Drive indoors at Chisholm Community Center, Wednesday, September 30th, 2020. Hold harmless and certificate of insurance attached.
I will second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to correspondence. There are none. So we'll then move on to public comment on any governmental issue. Anyone wishing to comment on any governmental issue, please use the Q&A or chat function on the Zoom and state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes in which to speak. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment portion of the meeting. And before we go to adjourn, does anyone have anything up here that they wish to discuss?
I got a question, John. I don't know if you can answer this. I was walking down Caldwell, right across from the brook, and I looked up, and there's a tree in the backyard that's hanging on, like a big limb, hanging on by a thread in somebody's backyard, across the street from the brook. Can we?
Yes, Mr.
Can we have
Huber,
that? What?
Yes, I do know about that, and the owner of that property has been notified. He's just having trouble getting a tree company in because they're all overwhelmed, but he does know about it, and he's going to have it taken care of.
All right, thank you. Now, any of these big trees that are high up, people ask me, high up and leaning over, like on just say my neighbor's property has a tree leaning over on my property. Who do they got to call to go look at the tree to see if it should be trimmed or cut down, if it's dying?
Well, they call the DPW, and we would go out and evaluate the tree and see if it was compromised in any way by the storm. But I will let you know that the request for tree evaluations and tree removals has been overwhelming in light of the recent storm, understandably so. But we take every call seriously. We investigate the tree, and we get a report back to the resident on the condition of the tree. Obviously, we can't remove every tree in town that people feel they're threatened by, but we do our diligence on it.
Thank you. I just wanted to know. Thanks,
Hang on. Before we leave that, please, I think, Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, were you not speaking of trees that are on private property or on township?
No, private property.
Private property. Robbie, you want to comment on that? I think that's different than what you were thinking.
No, private property, we would not enter into private property. Rich was mentioning like trees in the back of Ruby that lean over the fence. We will look at any township tree. We would ask that private trees on private property be evaluated by a private CTE.
Okay.
Hey, Rich, I can probably answer that question also because I'm obviously in the business. So from a residential standpoint, the residents, if you see a tree that from a resident standpoint is looking that it's not healthy and possibly can fall, you talk to your neighbor and go, okay, look, I don't see this tree could possibly come down. So that's a conversation that you go through your next door neighbor. However, it doesn't matter where the tree falls. If it hits a structure, everybody's insurance company will handle that individually. So your next door neighbor's tree falls on your house, it is not the responsibility of your next door neighbor to have the tree removed, though the insurance company would handle that part, or your own insurance company would handle the tree removal on it, because again, it hits your house. So there is no, my next door neighbor hit my tree or your next door neighbor hit your tree. If it hits the structure, then it's the responsibility of your insurance company to handle that removal of the tree. Unless it lands in somebody's backyard, then it's up to you and your next door neighbor to go, hey, look, can you get this tree removed? It was one of your trees. So that's how that's handled from an insurance standpoint.
Thank you.
Excellent. Alex, did you want to say something?
Mr. Mayor, I know, it's been a while. Last time you mentioned that you were possibly going to reach out to JCP&L and see if we could get like a public meeting. I just curious if we've had any continued dialogue or any potential dates. You or John want to?
The dialogue has always been continual. The representative has been very cordial to us, and we do maintain a good relationship. However, her responsibilities at JCP&L do not allow her yet at this time to appear for the township, in front of township committees at all, in any capacity, in any township committees or any area she covers, until such time that day she will be allowed. Did that quite cover it?
Yeah, no, I was just curious to see.
No, and I get you, and believe me, we're chomping at the bit to have her too. But because she, it would be a great resource. I know she's been in touch with residents. I know that, we've had a dialogue. If anyone had any specific concerns, I know personally that she's had conversations with probably about over, I want to say close to 24 residents with specific concerns. But as far as appearing in front of the township committee and even a special meeting, JCP&L, the company, has not allowed that yet for anybody. And we're waiting until such time, and she has agreed to appear once that approval is given. Did I miss anything, Mr. Bisicolo? Any details of that circumstance?
No, and I was just going to mention, Alex, I did speak to Carol from JCP&L today, actually. I just asked her where we were. So as the mayor said, we are in constant contact with them. We're chomping at the bit trying to get her in front of us.
No, yeah, I know you guys are. I just I'm just seeing what JCP&L, if they've released their people or they're still trying to craft their message.
I appreciate you bringing that up, because that's something I did forget to mention. It is important, and I know that's a concern of a lot of residents.
Definitely.
Anyone else for, I guess, the good of the
now I got something. Going back to the trees, I know there's a list that you can, if any residents want a tree planted in their yard or in front of their house. Robbie, what's the cutoff on that?
Well, we'll add to that list right up onto the quantity that we have, and then it just moves on to the spring list of next year. We have trees available right now for the fall planting, so we are still taking requests, and if we exceed that number, they just go on to the spring. They call DPW, we visit the site to determine the species of tree best to thrive in that area, and we'll get them what they need.
Okay. How many trees do we roughly get per season, or per fall and per spring?
We get usually around 30 and 30, and that's through Greening, Union County, and then we have several other areas that we apply for. We have another grant out there where we're applying. We haven't gotten any word back on it, where we're applying for $30,000 in grant money for trees this year. But a minimum of 60 we do.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, third, fourth, fifth.
Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. And
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good luck with all the kids going back to school and the teachers.